Hello everybody and welcome back to another video about the League of Dracula, and this is just one of those quick roundup videos where I just discuss all the results so far in the League of Dracula and talk about the standings and win rates and all that sort of thing. And yeah, apologies for not being able to get one of these out for you last week, just didn't have enough time. I couldn't get it out last night either. But on a Monday evening now, I'm quickly recording this for you all, so hopefully I can provide some insight, but feel free to leave comments and things if I've forgotten anything or overlooked something. I thought it would be quite nice to do these videos, especially for people who are not part of the Discord community, so you can still see what's going on. If you want to join the Discord community, you don't have to be playing in order to see all this. You know, you can just follow the link in the description of this video and it'll take you to the Discord and you'll see all this. You'll be able to chat to our amazing competitors and get practice games and friendly games and all that sort of stuff. Anywho, so let's get out of the way. So the first stage is now concluded. Last week, or this week just gone, was the final week. And these are the final group tables. There's one match that's missing here, but that match was actually played. We just, you know, with tournament admin availability, they couldn't wait for that result. So what you should be seeing here is that Kajek is on 8 games played, 7 wins, 1 loss, and an IDS of, I think, 72. Or I should have checked beforehand, but I think it's 72. And then Warecraft should be on 4 wins, 4 losses, and an IDS of 13-ish, something like that. But the game didn't affect, you know, the standings for the second stage. So we were able to plan everything ahead of time. So yeah, the second stage is now underway. There was a match last night, and there's going to be a match. When you see this, there's a match being played. I think Met King might be recording it tonight, so yeah, go and check Met King's channel out. There's a link in the description so you can find his channel. Anywho, so we know all the final positions, so just in case you don't remember the tournament format, out of these 4 groups of 5 players, the top player from each group automatically progresses to the final league. That's going to be played from the end of October, more or less, until mid-December. So Captain Gyro, Pizza Wizard, Edward Scissorhands, and Makajik, congratulations to them. They've already got their place. Very impressive win rates as well. I mean, Pizza Wizard undefeated, and the other 3 only 1 loss. But if you look at their IDS, you know, very impressive stuff all the way around. So yeah, very well done. Even more impressive from the fact that you think that Captain Gyro, Edward Scissorhands, and Makajik have never played in tournaments before. Captain Gyro and Makajik have played quite a lot in the community. Edward Scissorhands is a newer member. Has done very, very well so far. So yeah, very well played to all of them. We'll see them in the final league. They'll be able to take a little break now. So basically the second stage has been played. The second stage involves the players who finished the second and third of the groups. They now have to play an additional round of 6 matches. And out of those 8 players, 2 more will progress to the final league. Unfortunately, all the players who are 4th and 5th in the groups have been eliminated now. But I just want to say, you know, well played to all of them. They've conducted themselves very well in this tournament in terms of organisation and all that sort of thing. And you can tell from some of the results they fought very, very valiantly. There we go, get my words out. So yeah, well, definitely well played. And hopefully they can stick around in the community and continue to improve and get better, and they could be a force to be reckoned with in later tournaments. So yeah, I think the big thing from the first stage was the fact that the seeded players, quote unquote, the players who had had previous tournament experience and had performed well in those tournaments, have taken a little bit of a battering. As I said, you know, the 4 players who finished first, Peter Wizard is the only one who falls into that sort of seeded category, and then out of the 8 players who are in the second stage, 5 of them are seeded players, I think. The other one, Spencer, got eliminated. So yeah, Randiv, Pirate Joe, Quincy, Warecraft, and Mr. Green are the seeded players. So yeah, the seeds have taken a little bit of a battering, but we'll have to see how many of them can get out of the second stage. I mean, at the most, it's going to be 2, just because obviously only 2 can progress to the final league. So yeah, a lot of seeds are going to fall. I did say at the beginning, the only prediction from this tournament that actually is kind of held by I should have made my prediction more bold. I did say there'd be at least one player in the final league who was not from one of the top seeds. And at the moment, we've got 3 players who are outside, the top seeds. So, yeah, I should have been a bit bolder for that prediction. So we'll have to see, can 2 seeds get through? Or, the other players, you got Burke Marley, Met King, and JV. Burke Marley's been around for quite a long time. But this is definitely his best tournament showing so far. And Met King and JV Philly are the newcomers. We'll have to see if they can make it through their groups. For the second stage, I'll show you in a minute how they all line up. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tense and tight games in the final couple of weeks, especially in the last week, because once players knew what they required to win, there were a few games, like for example, Peter Wizard and Met King. There was nothing on the line for it, same with Rakachik and Werecraft, but still, just for completion of the table and also just for personal pride, they got played out. So yeah, I think it's just a shock of the seeds not doing so well, but I think now that just kind of really goes to highlight the quality of players in the tournament. And experience does matter, but I think it's very much a case of if you're an experienced player, you've been in the community for a long time, but maybe if you're not playing as regularly, then that might, mean that some other players, like Kachik as an example, is able to dominate. Because they put a lot of, Kachik's put a lot of time in practicing as an example, as one example. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how the second stage all goes through. But no, very well played. All the games have been thoroughly enjoyable. I think the thing too that we've noticed in just these 5 weeks, it's not that the meta's changing necessarily, but there definitely seems to be quite a lot of experimentation going on. I'm seeing in Group A, for example, I think Randiv and Spencer were doing different Hunter starts. I don't know how I feel about doing different Hunter setups in a tournament, but without it being tested. But fair enough. I do like the sort of the inventiveness, and maybe it's a response to certain parts of the meta. We've seen quite a lot of Eastern starts, which are very strong, so maybe there's some things to try and counter that. Not many Italy starts, not the least of the ones I've seen, because we've got checked a lot. There's quite a few sort of Northern Germany starts. Not a lot of UK, from what I can remember. And also the other things like cards that we would not expect to be incredibly strong. I've actually made quite a lot of impact in games. So for Dracula cards, for example, we've seen Nocturnal Visit play a big part in one of the games. I think that was Fangs of Fire against JB Philly. Where Fangs of Fire managed to get the win because of Nocturnal Visit. Met King managed to get a win by using double Roadblock. Not at the same time, but at different times during the game. And normally Roadblock is a card that we convey to be one of the weakest Dracula cards, but it worked out pretty well for Met King that time. Dogs have also featured quite heavily, which sounds ridiculous. It's a card that, if you watch my video discussing the items and things, it's been kind of slated. It's actually come into quite a lot of effect recently. And then even then, just like we had a conversation on live stream maybe a couple of days ago, discussing the strength of event cards. For those of you who've been regular viewers of the channel, you know that I did a Hunter tier list with a collaboration with Roscoe during the League of Dracula last year. And definitely during over this year, but also just watching more tournament gameplay and not being a player, I'm seeing it from the other side. Seeing certain cards being used will impact, how these tier lists go, and your thinking about certain cards has changed because of certain situations. So it's definitely something I think we kind of realize at some point we have to go back and maybe redo the tier list and just think about, how we evaluate certain cards and combos and all that sort of thing. In general, the meta has been more or less followed, but it's just a few extra things thrown in, like quite a lot of use of dogs. There's been a lot of Dark Call usage, which is kind of surprising to me when we've had conversations with Kaji. You know, I personally don't like Dark Call because you're taking damage in it and counter coming. But it seems that, you know, quite a lot of Dracula players are really liking this Dark Call. Unfortunately, I don't know how it's affecting win rate. I wish we could have a statistic to see how many Draculas use Dark Call and then win the game from it. We are collecting some stats, but Dark Call wasn't something that we've been asking the players to consider. So maybe just to give more options, then maybe the Dark Call might be worth it. That's all it does. It does improve encounter economy. It just gives you more options. So yeah, quite a lot of Dark Call, which is cool. Have we seen a lot of Hide Trick? Not too much. There's been a little bit, but not too much. But the Dark Call's really surprised me, and it's not just been, you know, newcomers who've been using Dark Call. Like Mr. Green had a game yesterday from the second stage where he used Dark Call, and I was like, what is going on here? Like, this is, you know, Mr. Green's been around the block a long time, so it's not just newcomers coming in with different ideas. Even the experience, the old guard, are now having to think about, right, we're going to have to change the way we play. At the moment, though, the old guard's not doing too well, so maybe are not being as adaptable as before. Maybe they're just a little bit out of practice. I don't know what it is. I think it'll be quite a cool conversation to have sort of after the fact, or maybe it'll be something that the individual players will have to say. I don't think it's not something I can go around asking people, but you know, why is it that, you know, the players who perform traditionally quite well, maybe just because of the format of this tournament is different. In the previous tournament, it was such so that the groups in the first stage were a little bit bigger, and it was the top 3 who made it through to the final league. This time, the groups were smaller, with this, you know, 2 ways of getting into the final league situation. You have to finish first, which is quite hard to do, or you finish second and third, so you don't get eliminated, but then you have to go through a very hard second stage. So I'm not sure. Maybe the format of the tournament's causing differences. It puts more jeopardy on the earlier games, which means then certain players might not be performing as well because under more pressure. I don't know what the answer is. It's really cool. I have been thinking to myself, like, how would I fare in this competition setup? I mean, I like to think I'd do quite well, but who knows, right? There's a lot of good players around, and yeah, no easy games at all now. So yeah, it's a really cool thing, and we'll see after the tournament, you know, how people feel about, you know, this different format and how we move forward with it. But anyway, I don't know. Like, all the games have been great. I mean, you can check out the playlist in the description. There's been just the quality of the games has just been so fantastic. I can't single out one certain group. I kept calling Group C the gift that kept on giving. I mean, you can kind of see it, like how close it was between second and fourth. And it was only IDS difference, really. I mean, even Group B was the same, but just the win rates were just a little bit higher here. Group A was a bit crazy too. It came down to the final game between Burt Marley and Spencer, who would qualify. So yeah, it was pretty. And even then, like, if you're looking, like, Burt Marley and Randiv are equal. Randiv, I think at one point was 4-1, so that opened up the door for, you know, Spencer and Burt Marley to catch. In the end, it was only Burt Marley who was able to do so. But yeah, and you know, it just there's some great stuff all around. It was really, really great to see. Very impressive win rates from all the players who finished first. You know, we're finishing 7-1 or 8-0. That's just, given how difficult the groups are, I was very surprised. I thought maybe 6 wins might be the threshold, but to be getting people getting 7 and 8 wins out of 8, that's, wow, I think that's very impressive. Very, very impressive stuff. So yeah, I haven't got any real more comments about specific matches. It's just, in general, just in awe with how great the tournament's been so far, and just as a spectator, just looking forward to every single game. So what I can do, I can quickly show you how the fixtures all line up. Actually, no, let me show you very quickly the win rates, Hopefully this changes properly. There you go. So these are all the win rates. This includes the game between Kajak and Werecraft that was played yesterday. So the win rate is still, I mean, it's not 50-50, but it's good odds. It's only a difference of 1, from 50%. Only 1 hunter win, to take it off the. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm very tired. I'm sorry. If the 30% win rate is 40 wins, there's only 1 win difference from that, which is pretty ridiculous, given how we, in general have conceived or thought about, hunters being a little bit strong, especially a higher win rate, or higher skill level. It's going to be very interesting to see now in the second stage where you've got people who finish second and third in the group, how those win rates fare, if it's going to be similar, or if you're going to start seeing a trend in one direction, then in the final league will be the same. Can we spot a difference going up? Because normally the 2 tournaments we've done, especially, well, let's say the League of Dracula last year, it was a 50% win rate, more or less. And that even translated in the final league as well. There's just the difference between the top performing players and the bottom performing players in the final league. You saw the difference. So it'd be interesting to see how this all pans out. So yeah, I'm going to keep a very close eye on this, and I'll be able to let you know. I think something that's also we've been talking about in commentary is something that I said in previous videos, and I hoped it would happen, but I didn't know if it would, because I just, it's not something. As a hunter player, I focus on things a little bit differently. Even though I do like playing Dracula a lot, thinking about how to disrupt the hunters. But I feel we're seeing a different type of Dracula now. We're seeing Dracula players who are, in general, a lot more willing to be aggressive, a lot more willing to be tricksy, to be utilizing their lair strategy a lot more, thinking about long-term benefit rather than just short-term cost, getting dud cards into layers. They're thinking about the long-term play, maybe not maturing a vampire early if it's not rumored, but then saving that vampire, layering it, and then making double vampire layers later in the game to cause more disruption. And I feel that might be the way to go around it. I feel if you're playing against an experienced hunter player, playing standard Dracula of just running away as fast as you can from the hunters and then going to sea and then popping up somewhere else, eventually I feel that's not going to work. You're just going to take too much damage from it, and the hunters are just going to they're going to be too efficient with clearing the trail. You have to give them very tough questions to deal with, put them in a tight spot, and I think that's what we're seeing. I think that's the way hunters could be defeated. So it'll be interesting to see in the late stages now, as the skill level just keeps increasing, how the win rates pan out. You also see that the groups are different. Group A was completely even. Group B, quite 2/3 hunter victories, 2/3 Dracula defeats, and then in the other groups it was just slightly towards Dracula. So it very much does depend on the group. But yeah, very unusual Group B to have such a high hunter win rate, especially with newer players. Like I think it was Humperdinck, even if he got eliminated, his 3 wins were all on hunters, which is highly unusual for a newcomer. It's normally you expect them to be playing quite well on Dracula, and there's the hunter games where they struggled. So there's been quite a lot of it's not strange. I'm not saying it in a negative sense, but just things we hadn't seen before. I mean, Strider in the American League had a similar thing. 2 wins, I think both of them were on hunters. So I think we have to kind of dispel this notion a little bit that newcomers are expected to win on Dracula, but they'll struggle on hunters. It would just be unlike in terms of how much practice you can get. I feel the problem with, I think the thing that is like Dracula is hard. Dracula is easy to play but hard to win, if that makes any sense. If you're against a hunter who is suicidal and just keeps jumping in, I think you'll get away with it. But against experienced hunters, I think it's very hard for Dracula to win if you're a newbie. But I think if you're playing hunters as a newbie, you can catch out quite an experienced Dracula. It's just as long as you're just, there's like that threshold you have to cross where you're just sufficiently equipped and you're sufficiently efficient with your actions. You'd have to be 100% efficient, not 100% equipped, but you got just enough, and Dracula may not be able to escape from it. So yeah, I think we have to kind of dispel this notion a little bit that you'd expect newbies to not be so good on hunters. It just depends on what they've practiced and so on. But hunters have a lot of ways to win, but there is a certain efficiency and certain consistency that is required with them. Whereas Dracula's just easier, it's just one turn and you can process information more easily, probably. So yeah, we'll see how this pans out. I don't know if I've been talking for 20 minutes already. Right, I'm just going to very, very quickly show you the fixtures for the second stage and then I'll shut up. Right, the power of OBS. Right, so here is the fixtures. Here are the fixtures for one of the second stage groups. So this group consists of Randiv and Met King, who finished second in Group A and Group B respectively, and then Werecraft and Mr. Green, who finished third in Group C and Group D respectively. I don't know, do I bother making predictions? I don't know, they all seem to be wrong, but in terms of who was winning the groups before. So, I mean, this is going to be a very interesting question. We've got two very experienced players in terms of Mr. Green and Werecraft, who probably, in terms of win percentage, didn't do so well in their group. Then on the flip side, you've got Met King, who's a newcomer, has a slightly better win rate, fresh face in the community. You got Randy, who's kind of like in the middle, experienced and played in the League of Dracula before, but not in the community as much as Mr. Green and Werecraft. I mean, my gut tells me experience will win, but who knows? I mean, I'll just spoil now. Met King got off to a great start yesterday and beat Mr. Green. Fantastic game, by the way, even though that was a spoiler. Great. It was a great game. It's on my channel as a live stream, so definitely go and watch it. It was great fun to watch, and Werecraft was alongside me for that. My gut feeling is just still, can Met King and Randiv, slightly newer players, can they fend off that sort of dual attack of the experience of Mr. Green and Werecraft? Even if one of them doesn't perform so well, you'd probably bank on the other one performing well. But they're also close in terms of win rates. I mean, three of them were 4-4 in the first stage. Met King was the only one who was 5-3. Who knows? Before the tournament, I had a Mr. Green and Werecraft down to win it. So now they've both been lumped in the same group. So obviously, only one of them max can make it through. I feel experience will carry them through, but you can't rule out anybody here. This is just, it's anybody's game. It's all very, very strong. Randiv will have to turn his form around a little bit because he played incredibly well in the first half. I think it was like 4 wins out of his first 5 games, and the only defeat was against Captain Gyro, and Captain Gyro was top, so there's no harm in that. But then ended up losing 3 games in a row towards the end, so we'll have to see if that form can be turned around. I mean, look, okay, I'll say it, I'm a little bit biased. There are 3 Americans and 1 European in this group, and I'm European, so come on, Mr. Green, beat them. But I mean, honestly, I feel like all of them have shown quality. Same with the group 2; they've all shown quality. So it's anybody's game. But the fact that the second stage is so short, there's only 6 games, you have to get off to a good start. So Mr. Green's gonna be sort of feeling the pressure a little bit now after losing. He's now going to play against Werecraft. Albeit, Werecraft's on Dracula, maybe he feels a little bit more comfortable on Hunters, but, if anybody after the first week is a kind of like 2 games down, like 2 losses already, that's going to be really tough going to get out of the group. I don't even know, out of 6 games, how many do you think you need to win to get through? What is the minimum number of games you can win and probably make it through? My gut feeling is probably 4, I think. If I saw someone winning 4 games and getting through, I probably wouldn't be surprised, but then it might well be on IDS. I can't. Can I see 2 people winning 5 games? I mean, sure, anything's possible, but I doubt it. I think if you get 5 wins and you don't make it through, that would be incredibly unlucky. to have another player winning 5 games. But hey, it could happen. I think 4. I think you might be able to get through on 4 wins, but I'm not sure. These predictions, by the way, I'm making are not based on me going through every fixture saying I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win. It's just a gut feeling. That's all. But yeah, I'll fly the European flag. Come on, Mr. Green, you can do it. And then the second group has these fine people. We've got Pirate Joe and Buck Marley. They finished 3rd in Group B and Group A respectively, and then JB Philly, who finished 2nd in Group C, and Quincy Boris, who finished 2nd in Group D. So immediately there's a little bit more disparity here in terms of win rate. Quincy was 6-2, JB Philly was 5-3. Pirate Joe was 3-5, and Buck Marley was 4-4. So you know there's a clearer hierarchy there rather than the other group where you had 3 players on 4-4, 4 wins, 4 losses, and there's only IDS separating them if that was the case. So I mean, based upon that prediction, you'd think Quincy's in the best form going into this. But then again, JB Philly was in good form, and now he's been away for a little bit, so he's come back fresh. I don't know if he's out of practice. That's that balancing act, right? Are you out of practice, or are you feeling fresh to play the game? It just depends. Quite a lot of like old rivalries here. Pirate Joe and Buck Marley played each other in the first stage of the League of Dracula last year, so they're reuniting again. I don't know what happened actually when they played before. Buck Marley, Pirate Joe was ahead of Buck Marley. I've got a feeling that maybe Pirate Joe won twice against Buck Marley, but I'm not certain. Don't quote me on that. The 2 players will know better than me. I don't remember. I'm just thinking in terms of like positions in the table. But it meant that Pirate Joe progressed into the final league, and at the expense of Buck Marley. So yeah, definitely some unsettled scores from that one, but Marley will be trying to get revenge. And then you've got Quincy and Pirate Joe in the same group, and they used to play each other. Back in the day, if you see any old like Quincy videos from like say 18 months, 2 years ago, I mean, who was he playing against? There's not many people. This is before I joined the community. There was just Quincy and Pirate Joe and Mr. Green and Roscoe, pretty much. And there were some others, obviously, but those were the 4 dominant members. So Quincy Burrows and Pirate Joe played a lot against each other. They played against each other in the final league of the League of Dracula last year. They played each other in the American League in the spring. I don't know what happened against them. I mean, in the League of Dracula last year, Pirate Joe finished 3rd, so he was ahead of Quincy, but I don't know who won their matches. In the League of Dracula, in the spring tournament, Quincy finished 2nd with a better win rate. So maybe in the League of Dracula in the autumn last year, maybe Pirate Joe beat Quincy twice, and then in the American one it was the reverse. I'm not sure. I haven't looked this up, and I should have researched, but I haven't. But again, the 2 players will know better than me. So yeah, and they got JB Philly there, who's like the newcomer, just like okay, having to fight out amongst the 3 experienced ones. I mean, again, who knows? I mean, I say based upon form, you'd think Quincy would win. The only thing that would probably give hope to the others is that even though Quincy won a lot of his games in Group D, the IDS was incredibly small. So he came very, very close to defeat. It was like sort of like clutch wins. Now, it depends on your perspective. It depends on how you think about this. There are some, people have the line of thought. This is also like in all sports. It's not just Fury of Dracula. But if you've got a player who, or a team who are not playing like amazing in the sense, they're not winning by very, very fine margins, but they're still winning. They often say, oh, that's like the spirit of champions, right? They're able to win even if the cards are down and having a bit of bad luck and blah, blah, blah. But then the flip side argument is, well, if you're not, playing convincingly, then what's going to happen when you play against teams who are winning convincingly? I don't know, right? And that's kind of the cool thing about this. But I'd say, based upon just looking at just pure win rate, Quincy would have to be feeling pretty good about this. But then at the same time, he knows a lot about Pirate Joe and Buck Marley. Does he know much about does he know much about JB Philly? It's kind of the disadvantage when you're a YouTuber, right? People like JB Philly will know Quincy Morris, right? Because they watch his videos. But has Quincy ever played against JB Philly before? I don't think so. Or if it has, it would have been like, when JB Philly joined the community very, very early on, I would say. So that's a bit of an unknown quantity there. So unless Quincy's been watching the matches that I've done, or Strider's done, or Met King, where JB Philly's been playing, then maybe he hasn't seen JB Philly in action. But I think at this stage, I mean, unless it's like they're going to do some sort of wacky strategies or whatever that you need to watch, I think everybody in the second stage is going to, approach it in the sense of, like, these are 8 good players in the, they've got at least third in their first stage groups. These are 8 decent players, you know what I mean? And I don't think there'll be people walking in with a sense of complacency about it. So yeah, I don't know. This one's, similar to the other group, hard to predict. Just based upon pure win rate from the first stage, you probably have to say Quincy. But we'll have to see. The others can maybe cause an upset. And again, there are 3 Americans and 1 European, so come on, Burke Marley. You can take them down. But yeah, we'll have to see how it all pans out. It's going to be all very exciting. It's going to be over in a flash as well, because it's only 3 weeks. 6 matches in 3 weeks. It's going to be very intense. So by the time this month is over, that's it. The second stage will be done. There'll be a week break, and then the final league will start. So it's going to be great. I'll try and stream as much as I can, but I've now hit the busy point where I've got a lot of things going on. So I won't be able to stream as much, but there seems to be availability from others, so that's great. So you just keep an eye on the playlist, keep an eye on my channel, on Quincy's channel, on Strider656's channel. Who else? Met King, Captain Gyro's got a channel. Hopefully, he might be keen to record other people's games, not just his own. But we'll have to see. No pressure either way. But he's probably off on a nice Caribbean island somewhere, just relaxing, knowing that he's he's guaranteed a spot in the final league. So yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be awesome. So yeah, I don't think I've contributed much to the. I don't think I've contributed much to the community with this video, but I thought I'd make it anyway and just showcase all the players who had made it through. So yeah, well done to everybody who's made it through to have a final league or second stage. Also, just again, thank you to everybody who participated, even if they've been eliminated. This just they've played their part in an amazing tournament so far, and it's just great to see so many committed members of the community. So yeah, thank you very much for that. So yeah, apologies, a little bit of sleepy Scot-sword after work Scot-sword. But yeah, hopefully you like this, or if it's helped you start that again. If it's cured your insomnia, then that's also great. You're very welcome. And I shall see you in another video very soon. I don't know when. It just depends on availability and when the match is being played, if I can record. I don't know if I'll be able to do a roundup video this weekend. We'll have to see. Just depends on things. But you'll know. I'll post everything. You'll see the videos when they come out. Okay. So take care, everybody. If you're seeing this, have a good day, or have whatever you're doing. I'm recording this on Monday, so have a good week, everybody. And see you in another video very, very soon. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.